program. We're going to start by a brother and elder, pillar and icon of our community. He will be the first keynote presenter. The keynote presentation, just to let any of you know, I'm a preschool teacher, so I know when you get antsy sometimes. He will be speaking for 15 minutes, and then after that we will have smaller reflections from Sister Queen Mother Karima Amin, and then after that as well, Brother L. Nathan Hare. So we're going to frame this first half on those who are actually there at that time and can kind of frame things for us and let us know exactly what is going on, tell our story, the real story. So please give a strong black hand for Brother Kamal Fields.
Jennifer Barghani.
Jima Barghani.
Jima Asante Barghani. First of all, I want to say you're just seeing the difference between singing and singing, because the sister could sing. And I want to give thanks for that talent. As I begin to think about, there's a lot of echo here, so I'm not sure how close I should get to this microphone. When I begin to think about this presentation and this day and the Panther Party, I begin to talk to a lot of people who were there and who witnessed and who were blessed to live during that time and are still here. And my conception of the talk took different tones and different directions. So I'll try to begin it this way. The Black Panther is a bad black cat. Male or female, the Black Panther is a bad black cat. The Black Panther Party for Self-Defense, which is what we're celebrating the anniversary of here, was not the first time, even in this land, that the Panther made his head known or his presence known. My earliest recollection was back in the days when they were trying to get the right to vote. And the Europeans, the enemy, the Ofe, had a setup which basically they still have a setup in terms of these elections to make them go their way. They had a symbol that was a rooster. And in the Carolinas, the brothers came up with another symbol that was easily recognized to the people, and that symbol was the Black Panther. But this struggle that I have inherited, that we all have inherited, has been going on ever since. Ras Jomo, a former student who is now my teacher in so many different ways, has a phraseology that he talks about. And, as we talk and as we live, even before Ras Jomo, Malifi Asante, Dr. Malifi Asante, who was once a professor here, has a piece that he talks about language liberation, that we have to free our tongue. In order to free our tongue, we have to free our mind, and that we have to really go towards liberation. Ras Jomo has a phrase called BC. We've all been raised to think that BC means before Christ. Ras Jomo has reinvented that, so he says BC means before captivity.
Right.
Before captivity. Malcolm X has a phrase that everybody knows, by any means necessary. What by any means necessary? Freedom. Freedom by any means necessary. There's a song, there's so many songs, there's so many different phrases that is very famous. I wish I knew what it feels like to be free. We've been held captive for so long that some of us, really, I'm not sure if any of us really truly know what a free breath feels like. There is a series of statues or artistic representations in Niagara County. It's run through the University of Niagara called Stations on the Underground Railroad. And there are a series of 9 or 10 sites that are like houses. And in the houses, as you go by them, you can go by Niagara University and get the map. As you look in the basement or you look in the attic, you can see cryptic messages. It wasn't really written plainly, very cryptic messages on ways to get north. and to get across that border. And as I did a photographic display of that, there's only one of those structures which is in Niagara County, and that's in Niagara on the Lake. And when we got there and opened up that one, it was in very plain English. And it was the words of Harriet Tubman that Dr. Karinga blessed us with yesterday. And she basically said, once I got to Canada and felt freedom, I knew I could not be free all by myself. I had to go back and get some more. So it's that kind of liberation movement that we really have to talk about, because freedom is what it's about. And we've been captive so long. I don't want to take anybody else's quotes, but the quotes are heavy on my head. You know, Harriet had a quote about freeing people, and she could have freed so many more if they had known they were slaves. And that phrase always hit me, because how can you be a slave and not know you're a slave? But as you look around in this captivity that we are suffering under right here, right now, today, how many of us think that we are free?
Right.
And if you think you're free, you won't fight for freedom.
Teach.
You know? So
Y'all not listening. Y'all not listening.
in terms of the history of the Black Panther Party here in Buffalo, it will be confirmed by many of us who were here. Buffalo never really had an official Black Panther Party chapter here. There was a study group, and Brother Nate here will give more information on that. But there were always Panthers here. You know, you don't have to be a part of a party to be a part of a movement. There's a poet that my mind is jumping a little bit, so excuse me, excuse my senior status. I'm so blessed. I feel blessed to have been born when I was born. I was born in 1950, and on my 13th birthday, as they say in the Jewish tradition, bar mitzvah, when I became a man, was the day the Birmingham church blew up, September 15th, 1963. So that's how I was introduced to this particular struggle of seeing 4 little girls get blown up. And most people don't know that there were also 2 brothers who lost their lives too in that whole scene, that whole aftermath. So like I say, out of that struggle for freedom and for liberation, it took many, many forms. It took many, many fashions. And one of the fashions it took in the East Coast was an organization and an institution called the East, which gave us Baba Simba Imlay, because that's where he came through, the East. And the brother who founded it, Jitu Wausi, was here for Baba Simba's memorial service, his homegoing service. And one of the artists that he had there at the East was a brother named Yusef Imam. And he had a group called the Black Creativity Troupe. And there's a lot of poems that I used to have on videotape, but when the technology changes, you can't always make the change with it. So a lot of the memories are here in my head and in my heart. And he had one poem that was very, very graphic in terms of his imagery and the kind of things that it said. And one of the things he said is, the cracker is crazy, and niggas want to be just like him. And he would run incident after incident and expression after expression on how we try to imitate our captors. You know, how he has been, or like Baba Simba said, Baba Simba, when he was here, and I believe I see him as a Panther, his job was to agitate the devil out of the minds of his people. Because he said the devil has our minds, so we have to go by our heart. Because our heart is more true than what our minds are. I really give thanks for the Nguzo Saba and the 7 Principles. I first got introduced to the 7 Principles when I was videotaping Malcolm X Memorial at Long Island University. And I had never heard of 7 Principles. As Simba says on a show that I do, he thought we didn't know anything about principles. You know, the only principle we saw was the principle in high school or in school. That we finally got an idea that there was a foundation, a basic set of principles that we can build upon. And for me, they're very, very real. In fact, every day we should hold fast to these principles. The first one for me is very easy, umoja. Can you repeat after me? Umoja?
Umoja.
Umoja is unity. And it's easy for me to remember because UMOJI, unity means our joined actions. It's what we do together. That's what unity is. It's not about talking about it, it's about what we do. You know, it's how we express ourselves. The second one, I fell in love with it once I learned how to say it because it's a little bit tricky. Kujichagulia.
Kujichagulia.
Self-determination.
Self-determination.
The idea that you can name yourself,
Yes.
speak for yourself,
Ashe.
and not let anybody else speak for you is a powerful statement. It's a powerful, powerful statement. You know, back when I was growing up here in Buffalo, when we saw the police coming, we would say, "Here come the man, here come the man." When I got to the city and was with the people I was with there, they said, "Here come the boy." Whole different mindset.
Right.
You know, they tell us, for instance, and they teach us, and we repeat it very often, that our ancestors were slaves. We were never slaves.
Enslaved.
We were enslaved,
That's right.
and there's a difference. We
Ashe.
still call those people who did it to us masters. They weren't masters. They were murderers, rapists, kidnappers.
Thank you.
You know, the truth has to be told. And that's part of the liberation movement, is learning the truth, teaching the truth, telling the truth, living the truth. Because in the end, like, kind of think of the elder's name because the spirits are coming heavy. Can't think of his name right now. What he said is, in the end, ain't nothing but truth gonna stand. You know? So the Panther, in modern day terms, for a lot of the young people, may be the Marvel character that has been developed about the Black Panther, who has his own African kingdom, who fought all kind of evil forces, and they're about to make a movie about that now, or they already maybe already have made a movie. But as I jump around, back to Yusef Iman. Another poem he had, which is very true, and I'm going to try to tailor it a little bit. And Brother Amin Ra teaches this also, is the power of one. The power of one. Like Yusef used to say, it only takes one. Not two, not three, not four, not a group, not an organization. If you see something that needs to be done, do it.
That's right.
Don't tell nobody. Don't tell your mother, your father, your sister, your uncle, your cousin. Don't tell nobody.
Just do
If
it.
it needs to be done, do it. You ain't read about it in the papers.
Right.
It's safer that way. You know, one of the tools that the enemy, the Ofe, our avowed enemy, has used against us ever since is a tactic of divide and conquer. There was a time when we used to call nationalists, they separated into different kinds. Revolutionary nationalists, the brothers who were willing to pick up the gun and do what was necessary to take care of business at that particular time. And there were others who were called cultural nationalists. Dr. Karinga was the leader of the people who were called cultural nationalists. And he said our battle truly is for the hearts and minds of our people.
Right.
If we can't win that battle,
Right.
we won't be able to fight any other battle.
Right.
You know? So I'm going to jump a little bit here and share a little bit of a song that's in my spirit right now. And that's, we who believe in freedom cannot rest. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. And you can't even rest when it comes. Because if you rest when it comes, you won't have it very long.
Right.
Because there are people, there are forces who are determined to express their supremacy, as they like to call it. I call it domination. I don't believe in white supremacy. I believe in European domination. And I don't believe in it, but I want to call it for what it is. It's European domination, because ain't nothing supreme about them. Like Malcolm used to say, who are you to be equal to? Who are you to be equal to? There are many people who are here who can testify and will testify as to the legacy of the Panther Party. Once I got into school being the university, and got up on the university campus, Brother Charles Autry, who's the one I remember, I'll talk about quickly, was running the BSU at that time, the Black Student Union. And I was a photographer. I was going around taking pictures. And brothers saw me taking pictures, and they drew me in to the Black Student Union because I didn't immediately go there. They drew me in, and eventually I became the Minister of Information for the Black Student Union. We had a newspaper, Unity Phase 1, and we would do what we could to try to enlighten people. And some of us actually began to do the whole thing about armed self-defense, or at least be able to arm yourself. There's a phraseology that says, arm yourself or you harm yourself. You know, and arm yourself doesn't just mean guns. It means knowledge, it means wisdom, it's understanding, learning how to live your life, learning how to eat to live rather than living to eat.
Exactly.
That's how you arm yourself.
Right.
And it's a long distance run we got to hear. I remember when I first got into this struggle, I thought I was inventing the struggle. I thought that we were just getting this thing started. And after I did research, I found that this is a struggle, like Jomo says, has been happening ever since that original kidnap. We've been struggling ever since, and we will continue to struggle until even after freedom comes. P-Funk, Parliament Funkadelic, because there's so many different aspects of this struggle. They have a phrase that says, free your mind and your ass will follow. The kingdom of heaven is within. You know, the thing that is closest to us, one of our greatest gifts from the Almighty God, is the thing that we're most strangers of, which is this physical body. We know so little about this precious gift. It heals itself, you know, if we feed it right, if we treat it right. But that's part of the revolution. That's part of the cultural nationalism. That's part of the liberation that we have to have. And it's intergenerational. You know, like I said, we didn't begin it. We can take it steps further, but we at some point have to pass the baton. And I'm always so proud when I see at this KWANZAA the younger people taking part. And there's one part of KWANZAA that Dr. Kringer didn't speak of. Part of KWANZAA is the ingathering of the people. The ingathering of the people. And I've been so thankful for these last 2 nights before this night to see so many people come out. But for those who might be discouraged about the size of this crowd, I just want to tell you that it's not the size of a thing, it's the power that's in it.
That's right.
You know, so
Right.
be not discouraged by the numbers, because the house is full, because you're here and I'm here and we're here. And working together truly does work. I'm not sure how I am time-wise, and I know there are other people who have to speak, but there's a song. There's a song that I love that speaks to the day's principle. And for all of those, you know, you're blessed to have these devices in your hands, these devices that you can get answers to anything. Some kind of answers. They may not be the real answer, but you can get some kind of answer to anything just at your own wish. And one of the things I like to encourage you all to do is either learn how to use those devices or carry pen and paper with you. Because God has a way of putting treasures in our heart, in our minds, and if you're walking through this world, by the time you get where you're going, you may have forgotten it. So write down the treasures that God gives you, the thoughts that God gives you, the poetry that God gives you, the songs that God gives you, so that you can share them with other people. So this is one of my songs that I love. And It's yet to be fully produced, but I'm going to do it the best I can. And if you can pick up on it, please share it with me. It has different phrases, and it speaks to some of the things that Dr. Karinka spoke of yesterday in terms of our family, how we live in relation to one another. So think of any kind of positive relation that you can have with another person, and I'll begin it this way. I've got to be a better brother to my sister every day. I gotta be a better brother to my sister every way, 'cause working together works. Working together works. Working together works. Working together works. The sister's part. I gotta be a better sister to my brother every day. I gotta be a better sister to my brother every way, 'cause working together works. Working together works.
Sing.
Working together works. Working together works. I gotta be a better father to my children every day. I gotta be a better father to my children every way, 'cause working together works. Working together works. Fujima. Working together works. Working together works. And it goes for any kind of relationship that we have, brother to sister, brother to brother, mother, children, father, because truly working together does work. And our avowed enemy knows that, which is why he always uses that tactic all too successfully of divide and conquer. There's a lot of debate going on right now. I hear a lot of mess going on right now on Facebook and other places with I can't think of people's names, Sonetta or some other people who are arguing with each other, who are fighting each other. And I was listening to Umar Johnson curse and go through his thing, challenging another brother. And we're busy fighting each other when we have an avowed enemy that's taking a firm stance right now as the president-elect and all of his henchmen. And we're busy fighting each other rather than using that first principle, umoja, and the second principles, all these principles, to really build the kind of firm, strong foundation that we need as a people. And I'm not sure if I talk much about the Black Panther Party here in Buffalo, but we did and must do what we must do to be free. There's a category of people who I call Buffalo community workers. And they are people who get up every day and do the work of the community. They don't get paid for it. They may get paid for it, but they don't do it for the pay. They do it because the community work needs to be done. So I hope we all can be greater parts of Buffalo community workers so that we can leave a better future for the young ones. God bless.